Hello!
And welcome to
Let's Talk About Book,
where we talk about book. I'm Smeevca.
And I'm Strawberry.
And we're reading Game of Thrones by
Yeah.
George R.R. Martin. And we're really getting through it.
Yeah, it's like this section and then two more.
You know,
I
like
believe.
two more after this section. Yep.
Yeah.
And so we're really getting down.
Yeah.
Stuff's happening, you know. We're getting into a lot of interesting stuff in these parts, and you're getting
I was really
excited.
enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
I had a hard time stopping, and then I was like, well, maybe I could listen to a few more chapters, but I'd already gotten myself to like stop reading it, and then I'm like, well, if I listen to 3 more chapters, I'm gonna have a hard time
Stopping again. Yep. Yep. But yeah, so do YouTube verbs.
Yeah.
The liking, the commenting, subscribing. Pester your loved ones about this podcast that you're like, I mean, I know it has like no views, but like trust me, it's cool, you know. Yeah. And then I guess that's our intro.
Yeah.
Alright, so we start with Catelyn, whatever number it is.
Yep. Yeah.
I've stopped keeping track for the episode. I just put it in the descriptions and whatnot.
Catelyn the Menace.
Catelyn the Menace. Catelyn, who started this war by kidnapping Tyrion, and then when we could really actually use that captive that you took for, like, you know, hostage negotiation purposes, you don't have him.
And they all expected that she had him. Like, oh, she's, like, coming up, like, obviously,
like,
you
she's
know,
gonna
like...
have Tyrion, and that's gonna be great, considering that, you know, her fucking husband's been taken and stuff, so, like, this will be great for hostage negotiation purposes. Oh wait, no. Never mind.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you know, it's like, that was more to do with her sister than her, but also
she brought him to her sister, and you know,
really
and
shouldn't
was
have done that.
Warned beforehand that, like, you know,
this is a bad idea.
Like, she's not stable, really.
Mm-hmm. and you were just like, what if I go to my sister, who is like, hey, it's the Lannisters, and I'm gonna go run away to my mountain lair.
Right.
And then you're like, what if I brought the Lannisters right to her? Surely this could only go well.
I really am wondering if it was her that had Jon Arryn killed.
Yeah, because
like there's the whole thing of like she didn't want her son to go like like learn anywhere, or whatever they call it. I don't remember. To
go be like a ward.
Yeah. Then she was like super against it, and they tried like a few different. Like, they had a few different people in mind, it seemed, or... Yeah, and they like, multiple people really wanted this to happen, because it's like, this kid is not in a good spot here, and I wonder if she's like, nah, don't take my baby away, and, like, he had, like, actually had a plan to, like, do it, or whatever, and she's like, nah.
Yeah, that makes sense, because it's like, because there's something weird about that, because, like, Catelyn, we see in, like, one of these chapters is, like, told that
he was supposed to be sent to
like Tywin,
but he was supposed to be sent to Stannis instead. Yeah,
which is Robert's brother over on Dragonstone. So there's like something weird that's up with that. Yeah, I think that I don't know if that's even this Catelyn chapter, if it's the next one.
The next one, yeah.
That says it, but that's not like super. You know, that's like not a super thing to have like out of order or whatever. But right now, she's, you know, made it out of these, like, mountainy, like, out of the Eyrie, and has taken a boat with the Manderleys. There's Sir Willis Manderley, and, his brother Wendell.
Gotcha.
They're, the Manderleys are, I forget if they're Tully people or Stark people, but they're, like, allies of ours.
Gotcha.
And they have, like, boats and stuff.
Most of these houses and all of all of Jon's allies, all that type of stuff, none of them have stuck. Yeah. None of them have stuck.
Oh yeah, honestly, here's the thing, like some of these like northern houses and stuff have stuck with me from just like hearing them throughout the series, but like God, I forget Jon's like friends' names.
Oh yeah.
There's like Pip and Gren. And then, like, Halder?
Oh, yeah.
And that's kind of, like, it. And obviously, there's...
I meant Rob's allies.
But
I did it again.
Yeah,
but also,
Rob and Jon.
Also, you're correct. I also have a hard time with those as well. I just...
Oh, yeah.
I just apparently cannot keep Robb and Jon straight either.
Mm-hmm. But yes, the thing is that, like, I remember the Manderleys because the whole thing with the Manderleys is that they're all, like, fat.
Got you.
Wyman's fat, and his two brothers are fat, and they have, like, walrus mustaches. They're all, like, walrusy and stuff. Because I think they are Northerners, but they're, like, the only ones who fucking have ships. Not the only ones who have ships, but they're, like, known for having ships or whatnot.
Yeah, it makes sense for a walrus.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, and so
Cold water, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yep, so, they're leading Catelyn to, Robb. Robb is at Moat Cailin, which, is, like, on the map. We, like, in the map on the front, we actually do...
No, it's not ours.
There's just a bunch of barking outside, and we're like, is that ours? No.
It normally is.
It normally is. But yeah, Moat Cailin is, like... I know it's, like, on the map here somewhere, I think. Unless I'm extremely mistaken. But, like, it comes up a lot. It's always fucking Moat Cailin, I feel like.
Yeah. Because it seems like it's, like, that's, like, the whole bog and all of that.
Yes. It's, like, this, like, ruins in the middle of a swamp.
Yeah, but it's like, oh, it looks like it's run down and, like nothing or whatever, but it, like, it's really hell to, like, fight through or, like, try to get any, like, number of people through it.
Yeah, because it's so, like, swampy and bogland and all that kind of stuff. And there's, like...
bogs will just... You can't move in a bog.
Oh, yeah.
I've been, on a bog walk, like, when I was in, like, late elementary school or whatever. Someone stepped in and just, it looks like it was a tiny puddle, but it was not. It went down to his waist. He just fell straight right in. Like, multiple people lost, like, shoes.
Yeah, it's, and the thing is that this is a great stronghold of the first men. So, like, the children of the forest and the first men who lived here, like, back in the olden days, this was, like, some fortification of theirs.
Gotcha. And do they have face trees here?
I wouldn't be surprised. Because it's, like, we get, there's only, like, there used to be more towers, but there's only 3 now. And it's, like, the Gatehouse Tower, the Drunkard's Tower, and the Children's Tower. And the Drunkard's Tower is, like, leaning, the Gatehouse Tower is more normal. And then the Children's Tower, tall and slender, where legend said the children of the forest had once called upon their nameless gods to send the hammer of the waters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we get this weird...
I remember reading that and being like,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. We do get more on the hammer of the waters eventually. It's another just, like, thing that gets, like, brought up sometimes. And it's just like, yeah, the children of the forest, I guess, did weird magic shit, you know? Called upon their nameless gods to send the hammer of the waters. Right. Which one imagines that would mean, like, almost like a tsunami or some shit?
Yeah, that makes sense.
You know? Just, like, called upon the waters to smash something. Right. But yeah, they're like, this place is a death trap. The bogs are impenetrable and full of quicksand and suck holes and teeming with snakes. And when night falls, they're said to be ghosts. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see that, there's...
I never know how much stock to put in ghosts in an area.
Yes. It's like, we know that there's, like, spooky shit in this world. You know? We had, like, a dead man come to life earlier. Yeah. So it's like... Who knows?
Right.
So the Karstarks are there. They have a sunburst as their, like, symbol. The Great Johns have their, like, giant, and then Robb's banner is there on, like, one of the towers, on the Gatehouse Tower. And we see him talking with Roose Bolton and the Great John, and he doesn't notice her, but his wolf notices her and, like... gets her attention. It's
so
always,
everyone, like, goes silent.
Yep, always with the wolves. Always with the Stark children and their wolves. Catelyn wanted to run to him to kiss his sweet brow, but in front of his lord she dared not. And Robb's grown a beard, and she's like, oh, you know, you've grown a beard, and his beard is, like, redder than his hair. He's very, it makes you look like your brother Edmure, her brother. Right. Know. He's very tally looking. Which is also one of those kind of funny things, because it's like Jon is very Stark looking, you know?
Right.
And then almost all the other kids are tally looking except for Arya. Yeah.
It's also interesting. In the show, like, he doesn't... Like, he looks more...
Right. It's just, like, he doesn't have that same sort of, like... Like, they really don't play up the red hair as much in the show for...
No, they only do it with Sansa.
Yeah. It's, like, Sansa has the red hair, and then, like, you know, the others just, like, it's not so much. But yeah, so we get just, like, they're kind of, like, planning some stuff. Sir Roderick, who was the one who had been traveling with Catelyn, has been sent... he's been sent to Winterfell to go back to Winterfell and to sort of command Winterfell while Robb and his armies are, like, out here doing their stuff.
Yeah, so they're sending some, like, some contingency down, like, the road or whatever, and they're sending, like, another group...
Down, like, another way.
Right.
Yeah, because, like, we eventually get, because, like, we get some of, like, Robb is there with the Great John, Umber, and, Roose Bolton, and they're kind of, like, arguing about what to do. Like, he, you know, Great John just wants to go fucking fight Tywin, straight on. Roose Bolton, Lord of the Dreadfort, had a small voice, yet, when he spoke, larger men quieted to listen. His eyes were curiously pale, almost without color, and his look disturbing. He's like, well, we should just, like, do, like, a hostage thing with Tyrion. But then it's like, oh, no, we don't have Tyrion. And they're kind of, like, arguing about it, and then just, like, oh,
I wouldn't be surprised if people just, like, packed up and, like, as soon as they heard that, like, are you crazy? I'm out of here, you know? Like,
right.
That's...
Yeah, so, like, they eventually, like, y'all should leave, and so I can talk to my son in private, and so then they talk a little bit in private and kind of, like, strategize, because Robb does have a plan.
Yeah, and she's trying to kind of, like, counsel him without, like, messing with his confidence, and, like, is trying to be careful, like...
Not to just be like, you should do this, but to, lead him so that he gets there, like, himself, you know?
Yep, and, like, to not do stuff like that, like, in front of people and stuff.
Because it's like, we get, like, these moments where it's like, once they're gone, Robb kind of becomes a bit more of a kid again. And they have, like, some of that interaction. He's like, I got this letter from Sansa, and she's like, that's Cersei's letter.
Like, that's... she's, like, pissed.
Oh, yeah. And it's like, well, you started this war. But I mean, you know, all the stuff in King's Landing isn't necessarily related to the war as much. I mean, there's a certain level of, like, you know, some of the, like, animosity towards the Starks comes from.
They kind of do all, like, kind of feed into each other. Some of the stuff with Ned and, like, you know.
Yeah. Mother, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
I brought this whole army together, 18,000 men, but I'm not certain. And, you know, he looks like a boy instead of a proud young lord. What are you afraid of? If we march, even if we win, the Lannisters hold Sansa and father. They'll kill them. They want us to think so. You mean they're lying? I don't know. But, like, we, you know.
Yeah. But there's nothing we can
really do about that. Our best hope, our only true hope, is that you can defeat the foe on the field, and if you should chance to take Lord Tywin or the King's Slayer captive, why then a trade might very well be possible. So long as you have power enough that they must fear you, Ned and your sister should be safe. Cersei is wise enough to know that she may need them to make her peace, should the fighting go against her. If you lose, there's no hope for any of us. You know, no pressure.
I wish you could still be a young kid, also.
Yeah, and then also, we get a little bit about, Derek, Lord Derek Dondarrion or whatever.
Yeah.
And that his, you know, Ned sent Lord Beric Dondarrion. Yeah, not Derek, Beric. He's like, it was like Lord Eric or Derek or something.
Right, to send him against...
the Clegane.
Yeah.
You know, the giants.
Yeah.
Although he's not actually a giant, he's just a big dude. Yeah, Gregor Clegane. And so Lord Beric Dondarrion, his little mission did not go well.
Yeah.
And a few others may have escaped, no one is certain, but they got fucking attacked by Lannisters, and then Gregor Clegane came up behind them, and they were like, you know, on both sides, and so it's like, yeah, shit didn't go well.
Yep, and they can't, like, get a hold of any of them, or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And Lord Tywin's closed off the King's Road, the, like, main road.
Right.
And he's marching north toward Harrenhal, and he's like, you mean to meet him there? And he's like, I've sent word to Howland Reed, father's old friend at Greywater Watch. If the Lannisters come up the neck, the Crannog men will bleed them every step of the way. And
right.
Because the thing is that, like, the Crannog men and, like, the neck is very swampy. We haven't quite gotten them yet, but they're, like, fucking little swamp people.
Got you.
The Crannog men. So it's, like, more of this, like, swamp warfare bullshit. Yeah. Guerrilla warfare is ass.
I mean, it's hard to, like...
But it's like, we need to march south to meet him.
Can't see stuff in there either, like...
Because they're like, why not just stay here and moat Catelyn, because it's very defensible. And he says that food and supplies are running low, because turns out this swamp isn't great for, like, you know...
Right, for growing...
for growing your food and for, like, getting supplies in and out and stuff.
Yeah, transportation makes it hard on the enemy, and also makes it hard on you.
So basically it's like, they're gonna be sending... Try to swing around Lord Tywin's host. We take the risk of being caught between him and the Kingslayer if we attack him. By our reports, he has more men than I do, and a lot more armored horses. And he's like, what we're gonna do is split our host in two. People on foot can continue down the King's Road, while our horsemen cross the Green Fork at the Twins. So they're gonna cross this river.
Right.
And, go and, like, take the horses sort of, like, around another way. I think so that they can essentially, like, get behind them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, when Lord Tywin gets word that we've come south, he'll march north to engage with our host, leaving our riders free to hurry down the west bank to River Run. You'll put a river between the two parts of your army and between Jaime and Lord Tywin. There's no crossing on the Green Fork above the Ruby Ford, not until the Twins... and Lord Frey controls that bridge, and he's your father's bannerman. So
right.
So the plan ends up having to do with, like, going to the Twins, which is this, like, the only crossing on this river, and sort of putting a river, like, splitting their force to split the Lannister forces across the river, and because they'll be with the Freys who have the only means of crossing the river, it'll be, like, easier for them to be able to, like, maneuver, but not for the opponent. So it's like the Twins are, like, a good strategic spot. But then it's like, yeah, the Freys, you know, they're your father's bannerman, the late Lord Frey.
Yeah.
My father has never trusted him, nor should you. I won't. What do you think? And she keeps thinking that he looks like Ned, that, like, he's being a lot like Ned here, like, learning how to be, like, a good lord and whatnot. Yep.
I did, like, like earlier or whatever, she was like thinking about like sending him home or whatever. Like she debated like whether or not, you know.
Yeah. And it's like I should just like send him back to Winterfell.
Yeah, but then she's like, but then in the future, if they like we need them to follow you, like that's not they won't have any respect for you because like you were leader and then I just pulled up and then I just sent you away and then you're just like a little kid.
Yeah, exactly. and so he's like, the Great John is raring to go fight Tywin, so I should send him. And she's like, that's not actually why you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, she's like, that's like his first mistake or whatever, like in her head.
Yeah, but then she's like, I don't want to wound his confidence. And it's like, they say that he is fearless. And, fearless doesn't necessarily mean your father's not fearless. He is brave, but that is very different. And he's like, you want someone who's, smarter than that.
Right.
And so it's like, okay, so Roose Bolton needs to go down there. That man scares me. Then let us pray he will scare him down.
I don't remember, but who...
Yeah, no, the Boltons are very creepy.
Yeah.
He's got, like, creepy eyes that are too pale.
Yeah.
There's all sorts of theories about him being, like, a fucking White Walker because he's got, like, the pale eyes.
That was literally my first thought. I was like, pale eyes. I'm like, is he, like, some sort of...
Weird, yeah. There's, like, all kinds of weird theories. Especially because they, like, flay people. They, like, remove people's skins and whatnot. There's some weird...
Yeah, they're crazy.
They're weird, like, there's some stranger shit from Magnus Archives, And then it's like, well, does...
Although the flaying reminds me of her Marquise.
Yes, yeah, that's true. But yeah, and so then it's like, all right, so we've got this plan, and we're worried about how Lord Frey is gonna like try and fuck us over, but this seems like a good enough plan. And so what's Catelyn gonna do?
Yeah.
Is Catelyn gonna go back to Winterfell?
Yeah.
No, because her family's in danger, and Robb's force is going to be going down to Riverrun, which is where she's from.
Yeah,
and
so
she's like, I gotta go be with my family. My father may be dying behind the walls of Riverrun. My brother is surrounded by foes. I must go to them.
Yep.
So, again, you have small children back home.
With this choice, I'm like by this point, I'm like, I don't know what good decisions you have left. Like, it's hard. It's like, I wanted to be like mad about her decision here, but then I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if it's a good or bad decision, because we've gotten to a point where she's made so many bad decisions. It doesn't really matter
at this point. Everything's kind of bad.
Yeah.
It's like, I get, it's like you have your family and you want to go like be with them, but also it's like, what are you gonna do?
Also, but like, it is, like, I do think it is good for her to stick with Robb. Because like, he's a 15-year-old with a bunch of, with an army. Where like, he's trying to like, negotiate both like politically for the first time, basically, and like
so like staying with Robb to like be a good like counsel for him,
that to me makes sense. But also I feel horrible for like Bran, like all of that stuff, like she is needed for them, but
for, like Bran and Rickon and
but
whatnot.
Also, what is she going to do at home right now? Like, how useful is she going to be at home right now?
Right. I guess it's sort of like the best argument for, like, how useful she would be at home is to do with, like, there are Starks in Winterfell right now with, like, Bran and them.
There's not an actual, like
like, Sir Roderick is there, like, holding things down, but, like, having a, like, Ned's wife being there. It shows some level of, like, having things together for the other people, but also everyone in the north is like coming down for like the war stuff, so it also makes sense to be there with the actual like war
that's
effort.
Where the political stuff is happening. That's where
so it's like this probably is this is maybe the first kind of like but it is like a tough one because she's got like family on both sides, but also it's like Bran and Rickon are more safe right now. So it's like, it makes sense that it's like, I'm not worried about them, even though they would love to have me home.
Exactly. But like at this point, Jon is, he needs some counsel. And to be able to like, God damn. I can't. God. Why do I always do that?
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it again. Like.
Oh yeah, we're gonna be in the Jon section and you're gonna be like, Robb.
I don't remember what I was saying anymore.
It's like Robb needs counsel because he's like, he's young and this is his first time, going to war.
What I wanted to say was that he could also behind closed doors be a kid for a second, like
yes he
does not have that outlet at all,
right? Because right now it's only
because like even when he was at home with Bran, he at least had Bran to like step aside and show like
some family to be vulnerable with and to be to sort of like relax a little bit in some sense. So so that's Catelyn's chapter. Alright, and then we move on to Tyrion.
I kind of forgot about this chapter for some reason.
This chapter, I think it's shorter, I think it is a bit shorter, because essentially it's Tyrion, he's got the, like, mountain clans with him. He's made that like deal with them, and
he's trying to meet up with his dad with Tywin.
And so like we get some of the like mountain clansmen. We get Chella, daughter of Chayk, Cheyk. Of the Black Ears, and then we get like Stone Crows, Moon Brothers, Black Ears, Burned Men, and just like the different like little clans that there are. There's like Ulf, who spoke for the Moon Brothers. There's Shagga and Dolph and just all these like names of people. And we know that like one of them, there's Timett, who's kind of like one of the more main ones that we get like a little bit just like more about. Timett's fellow burned men were so awed by his choice of an eye. Oh yeah, because it's like even the other burned men feared Timett, who had put out his own left eye with a white hot knife when he reached the age of manhood, because that's part of their like cultural thing.
It's like,
they
most
like burn
people do
themselves.
like a finger or this or whatever.
Who mortified their flesh with fire to prove their courage. It was more customary for a boy to burn off a nipple, a finger, or if he was truly brave or truly mad, an ear. But then he took out his eye, and so everyone was like, this guy's fucking crazy. Tyrion's like, all right. They're like, yeah, there's like Lannisters over there. We're gonna go. It's like, take me over there, and I'm gonna go meet up with my father.
Yeah, and then there's the one who wants to cut people's balls off.
Yeah, he keeps doing like, I'll cut your manhood off and feed it to a goat.
And then he has a few other things.
Yeah, he says
it's like a running thing throughout because then at one point Tyrion's like, no goat, because he like says something else. Or whatever.
He says something other than a goat, but I don't remember what it was.
Because he says a few different things.
He does. But yeah, it's like because they get to the same inn at the crossroad that Tyrion was like captured at. Right. And it's now like the inn is still standing, but everything else has been like fucking destroyed. Yeah. And the innkeeper is like hung up. Right. And Tyrion's like, I just wanted a room and some wine, and now all this has happened.
Right.
Yeah, a room, a meal, and a flagon of wine. That was all I asked, he reminded her with a sigh of reproach. And she's hanging there with, like, birds on her.
She didn't do anything.
No. No. But yeah, everything's been all destroyed, and we get Tywin Lannister. We meet Tywin for the first time here right at the end of this book. Yeah. I mean, not right at the very end, and like, I don't remember if we get more of him or not per se, but we finally see him after just like hearing about him for so long.
The show Tywin is such just like,
yes,
I see him.
Oh yeah,
as soon as his name, like every time I hear his name or whatever, I just, think of,
he does such a good job. He doesn't look like how Tywin is described, but he just is. He so does like embody the like spirit of the character. He's such a good like actor. Yeah. Yeah, Tywin Lannister, Lord of Casterly Rock and Warden of the West, was in his middle 50s, yet hard as a man of 20. Even seated, he was tall, with long legs, broad shoulders, a flat stomach. His thin arms were corded with muscle. When his once thick golden hair had begun to recede, he had commanded his barber to shave his head. Lord Tywin did not believe in half measures. But he keeps his... but he kept his side whiskers two great thickets of wiry gold hair that covered most of his cheeks from ear to jaw. So he's got these like big sideburns, which like on the show
very lion.
Yes, yeah. And so like in the show, he mostly has just kind of like
it's like kind of short hair.
Kind of like short hair. He doesn't have like the fully like balding thing. And just kind of like a general like kind of short beard. Yeah. And then, his eyes were a pale green flecked with gold. Yeah. A fool more foolish than most had once jested that even Lord Tywin's shit was flecked with gold. Some said the man was still alive deep in the bowels of Casterly Rock. Yeah. And then we get Sir Kevin Lannister.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just, and then Kevin.
No Kevin.
Yep. Yeah, K-E-V-A-N.
Your name's not Kevin anymore.
Kevin, perhaps, if you prefer. His father's only surviving brother. His uncle was portly and balding, with a close-cropped yellow beard that followed the line of his massive jaw.
Is he in the show? The uncle?
I think he is, technically, but I don't know that he really does much of anything.
I don't think I knew that he had a brother.
Yeah, Kevin is, like, more of a character in the books. He's still, like, doesn't do as much compared to Tywin, but he is, like, around.
Yeah, I straight up never knew that Tywin had a brother.
Yeah. And in fact, he had more than one, because Kevin is the only surviving brother. Yeah.
So I feel like I would have guessed, like, he has dead siblings or whatever. Like, that, like, makes sense to me, but I didn't realize he had a living brother.
Yeah. That's
to me,
funny.
It's more surprising that one of his siblings is still alive.
Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, I see the rumors of your demise were unfounded. Sorry to disappoint you, father. Kind of you to go to war for me. Your brother Jaime would never have meekly submitted to capture at the hands of a woman. That's one way we differ, Jaime and I. He's taller as well, you may have noticed. No man sheds Lannister blood with impunity. Hear me roar, Tyrion said, grinning. The Lannister words. Yeah. Yep, so fucking Tyrion and his dad just fucking...
Oh, yeah.
We get to see Tyrion doing his normal jabbing and whatnot.
And it's it kind of shows because like he hates his dad and like but they do have similarities in that kind of way that like where they really snipe at each other.
Yep. And also it's one of those things where it's like we get sort of like more of that as it goes on, as we see like more of them together and whatnot, because, like, Tywin's, like, smart.
Yeah.
He's like a real smart guy, and, like, you know, Cersei and Jaime are a little less clever, I feel. Yeah.
Like, they are smart, but they're not, like...
Mm-hmm. Because it's, like... just pushing Bran out a window like that is, like, a bit rash.
They don't have, like, the curiosity. They're smart, but they don't have the curiosity that, like... Yeah. You need to like continue to learn more, and like he just has that.
Oh yeah, because also it's like Cersei is so like proud in this way, but then it's like I think it's very interesting that when the Mountain Clansmen like show up, and Tywin starts like talking with them, he doesn't pull like, oh, I'm so much better than you. Yeah. He's like, all right, my lords, what are you all about? You know, he and
I think even like Jaime would probably be like shittier to them in that way. You know, like I don't know how much respect he would. You know.
Yeah, because there's a whole thing of like this is skipping ahead a little bit, but it's like when the mountain bandits show up.
Because they'll just storm in.
Yeah, they just kind of storm in.
He was like, well.
It's like, ride with me against my enemies, and you shall have all my son promised you and more. Why should we need the father's promise when we have the son's? I said nothing of need. My words were courtesy, nothing more. You need not join us. The men of the Winterlands are made of iron and ice, and even my boldest knights fear to face them. Oh, definitely done, Tyrion thought.
Yep.
The burned men fear nothing. Timid son of Timid will ride with the lions. Yep. So it's like he just knows how to play people in a more like kind of subtle way.
Yeah, which Tyrion is also good at. Like it's kind of his, you know.
Yep. It's like, we get these like little senses of like...
Which probably feeds more into Tywin's like hatred of him, because it's like, oh, I have like my perfect kids, but like the kind of intelligence that I also prize, you know, is, you know, like...
Oh yeah. So like jumping back a little bit, your brother has been covering himself with glory. He's been, you know, doing really well with the war. Sir Edmure Tully was taken captive with many of his knights and bannermen. So we now know, and because like in Catelyn's chapter, they didn't know yet. Right. They just know that Edmure had been like fighting.
Couldn't find them or whatever.
Yeah, it's like they couldn't find Beric and his crew, and they knew that like Edmure was like going to be going and fighting Jaime, but like, you know, it takes a while for like word to like get back and stuff, and so like we know now from Tywin that like, oh yeah, Edmure's already been captured.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite things in like low tech fantasy without like a magical communication thing is always
and that's definitely like a big thing with this series.
It's something I loved about Wheel of Time as well.
Yep. Up until, because then only like a select few people in Wheel of Time end up actually able to like effectively communicate across distance, and so like it's still like a part of it, but then like certain people have,
and then you just get hiding information from each other, so you can still get like the
you can still get the fun of that. And Tyrion learns that Ned has been captured. Right. Yeah, the Starks show no other matter. Lord Eddard is our hostage, his father said. And things had gotten interesting while he'd been away.
Yeah.
Robert's dead.
Things went real well for
us while you were gone. Actually, Ned's our captive, and the king is dead, and we're now the royal family essentially.
Yeah, that's
more than we already were.
Quite a difference.
Yeah, and I do like this a little bit. It's like, you know, Mark Piper and Carl Vance are loose in our rear, raiding our lands across the Red Fork. The gall of them fighting back, Tyrion said. You know, Beric Dondarrion, and Thoros of Myr. Because he's like, they like escaped or whatever, I guess.
Got you.
Beric Dondarrion, some young lordling with delusions of valor. He has that fat jape of a priest with him, the one who likes to set a sword on fire. Do you think you might be able to deal with them as you scamper off? So he wants to send Tyrion after them because, like, because we know that they got, like, attacked by, like, Gregor and them, but I guess they kind of got away. Beric and some of those people got away and are now just, like, causing them trouble here and there. And so he's like, go deal with them. That's small enough for you to go deal with. But then Tyrion's like, no.
I got other stuff to do.
Yep. Oh, yes. It's Shagga, son of Dolph. I will chop off your manhood and roast it in the fire. What? Yep. No goats?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, then I think Tyrion offers it at one point. He's like, and if so-and-so doesn't listen, then you can chop off his manhood and do whatever.
Yep. Oh, yeah,
give him his horse back. I think that's what it was. He doesn't give him his horse back.
Right, yeah. Who might you be? Lord Tywin asked, cool as snow. They followed me home, father. May I keep them? They don't eat much. It's just like, Tyrion's just such a little shit to his dad. It's great. What brings you down from your strongholds, my lord? Horses, a promise of silk and steel. Yeah. And so then that's when, and then Tywin gets him to make that deal.
Yeah.
And they're like, you guys help us fight, and they're like, yeah, but Tyrion's got to come with us.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, deal. It's like, we made the deal with Tyrion, so he's got to come with us for this. Yeah,
until we get our stuff.
We get our stuff, which is fun. Tyrion's got to go be kind of like a part of this war and whatnot. Yeah, and so that's the Tyrion chapter. It's just sort of him meeting back up with his dad, getting more of a sense of what the war situation's like, and now it's like, because like there's stuff that each side doesn't know.
Right.
They don't know Robb's plan to split things off, but also Robb doesn't know that like they're getting this like influx of the like mountain bandits to like come in and like help. Yeah. So it's like interesting. Asymmetry of information during all this like war stuff.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that. Sansa chapter, and this one,
which is a hit Cersei on the head chapter.
Yes, big hit Cersei on the head chapter.
Big push her out the moon door.
Yes. It's like Sansa. Things are. She's like. The queen had given her freedom of the castle as a reward for being good, yet even so she was escorted everywhere she went. Honor guards for my daughter-to-be, the queen called them.
And honey, that's not freedom of the castle. Honey, no.
Yep.
Being able to leave your prison room does not mean you have freedom of the castle, because you have guards.
Yep. Yeah. And we also see that, she's like...
But I don't blame her.
Yeah. The walls of the throne room had been stripped bare, the hunting tapestries that King Robert loved taken down and sacked in the corner in untidy heap. So it's just immediately, you know...
yeah. Especially, like, something that he loved. Like, she had such, like, this is immediate, like... I don't want stuff that he cared about, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's just, like... Little descriptions like that are just like all throughout these books where it's like little descriptions like that and things, symbolic things that like just reinforce everything that's going on. And so I always just want to like underline everything whenever I'm like reading back through for the podcast. Even if she could leave the castle, where would she go? It was enough that she could walk in the yard, pick flowers in Marcella's garden, and visit the Sept to pray for her father. Sometimes she prayed in the gods' wood as well, since the Starks kept the old gods. So she's just kind of like, what would I even do?
Right.
Because Arya's like, shit's bad, I gotta get out of here. No worries about like, how am I gonna get home or anything, I just gotta get out of here. While Sansa's like...
Where do I go? Like,
where do I go? What would I do if I got out of here?
Also, she does not have the same survival, just know-how. Like, not like... I mean, Arya is not, like, amazing survival expert, but, like, she has some, you know?
Yeah,
like...
and she just, like, has more of that drive. Because, like, Sansa is just, like, so used to court and court life and the, like, comforts of civilization.
Yeah, and the like, rules.
Yeah, and the rules that and, like, the structure that it, like, provides for her.
Yeah, because, like, that's, like, always been a protection for her.
Yeah.
Like... It reminds me a bit of, like, the whole, like, with the butcher's boy and everything. Like, he didn't have that, like, protection in the same, like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's like Sansa thrives in this environment where there's, like, set rules.
Yeah, and because, like, those rules normally protect her.
Yes.
Is, like, I think kind of what I was getting at with the butcher boy. Like, because, like, they've always been in place, but she's just always...
been on the right side of them.
Right.
And now she's kind of on the wrong side of them.
And doesn't realize.
and has no... She hasn't been taught that, you know?
No.
And so we get...
And she wasn't as close to a lot of, like, those types of people who, like, are on, like, that side of, like, those rules. Like, Arya had more relationships with people who, like, those rules didn't protect or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. So she's here. It was the first court session of Joffrey's reign, and there's like a bunch of people here, like small folk as well as lords and stuff. There's this guy whose name, Jalabar. It's XHO. However you're supposed to pronounce that, like Joe or something. It's JALABHAR. XHO.
Yeah.
However we're supposed to pronounce that. Who is one of the few black people that we've like seen. He's described as black skinned. And then just like other random people. Aaron Santagar, the Red Wine Twins, Horror and Slober. Which just, what a name. And you know, she's like seeing all these people and she recognizes them, but none of them know her.
Yeah.
And she's just scared with all this stuff going on.
It seems like they should recognize her. Like, she says that they like would recognize her, but they're, like, purposefully looking away from her or something.
Yeah, right.
Because, like, they're all acting, like, kind of weird because, like, I think they know that she's gonna go ask for, like, stuff for Ned or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're just, like, trying not to... Or they might be, like, told not to talk to her by Cersei. That could be. That was the other thing that I was thinking, is I thought that she might have gone to them and be like... Because she's trying to keep her controlled and, like, all the information, she's trying to keep that away from her. So, like, because, or if they did, they shied away or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
it's like they're some of them probably don't recognize her, and others that do are just, like, avoiding her and, like, trying not to talk to her and stuff. Yeah, and she's like, I shouldn't be afraid, I have nothing to be afraid of. Joff loves me, and the Queen does too. She said so. And she's just, like, trying to hold on to this, you know. And then, the main sort of thing in this chapter is that, like, it's this whole thing of, like, here's all these people, and they're traitors, and all these people need to come and swear fealty to me.
Yeah.
And in order to, like, prove themselves.
Yeah, so it's, like, going through, like, all of, basically everyone who's with, Rob. I almost said Jon. With Rob at the moment.
Right, yeah. It's, like, a long list of names, including, Lord Stannis Baratheon, Lord Renly... Loras Tyrell, Mace Tyrell, Thoros of Myr, Beric Dondarrion.
Yeah, I guess the Tyrells aren't with them.
Yeah, no, the Tyrells aren't necessarily with
But they
Rob.
are enemies anyway, because they said earlier, like, with the tourney or whatever, that, like, you want to be on, like... Oh, you shouldn't...
The Tyrells and the Lannisters are, like, rivals in some sense.
Yeah, if you're going to be enemies of the Lannister, you shouldn't make enemies of the Tyrells, because they're... Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah, it's like the... Because I think that they're both sort of, like, Western, like, they're, like... The Lannisters are Wardens of the West, and I think the Tyrells are sort of, like, also a big house in their, West, like, region, and so they kind of have, like, political rivalry, I believe. Right. And also, Loras Tyrell... Well, because it's like...
Because he's the knight that did really well.
He's the knight that did really well, and, like, Renly was talking about Loras's sister, remember? Renly was, like, Marjorie Tyrell, Loras's sister. He was, like, showing her picture, her, like, portrait to Ned at one point. He had, like, a little, like, locket with her.
I kind of forgot that.
Yeah, so...
Because Marjorie is what's her name?
Yes, is, Natalie Dormer.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it's like... So there's like a hint that like Renly had some sort of connection with the Tyrells.
Got you.
So it's like... There was like something there. And so then like... Loras and
So they would have had even more allies, probably.
Yeah, probably.
If they would have stuck with Renly.
Right, exactly.
Like, I still... Like, I know this is cutting ahead, but... He thinks again, and curse Renly or whatever for leaving or whatever. Fuck off, Ned. You told him you didn't want his help. You told him you did not want his help. What the fuck was he supposed to do?
Yeah.
Just stand around to get arrested like you? Like, what do you mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, I mean...
Until you decided to change your mind last second when there's not any time. Anyway, we can go back.
Yeah, because we'll get to that.
I know, I just remembered and got upset. Anyway.
Because then we get, like, others, too. It's like we get, like, the Tullys and whatnot, because they're, but we also get Doran Martell, Prince of Dorne.
Yeah.
And all his sons. So it's just like, he's just like everyone.
Just everyone, yeah.
Because I think they just like, they know that there's going to be a secession thing going on.
Yeah, so just all of the enemies.
Yeah, so there's going to be a succession crisis that, like, you know, and so it's like, everyone, all the major houses from all the big regions just need to come and swear fealty to me. Just because, well, we had, you know, the Starks were being traitors, so now we can't trust anyone, you know. And at the end, near last, came the name Sansa had been dreading. Lady Catelyn Stark, Robb Stark, Brandon Stark, Rickon Stark, Arya Stark. Sansa stifled a gasp. Arya. Which it's like, bitch, you're like Rickon Stark, the fucking baby?
Yeah, well, that's the whole...
I mean, that's the whole thing, was just like, he needs to come swear fealty to this fucking 3-year-old.
Yep.
It's just kind of so silly to just, like, think about, which is, you know, part of the point.
Yep.
But...
because the whole, like, thing of, with the,
Yep, and she's like, Arya, that it must mean that her sister had fled on the galley and must be safe at Winterfell by now. So she's like, oh, she must have gotten out of here. And we know that, like, Arya did get out of here, but not by that ship. That ship that they were supposed to leave on did not get them.
Right.
But yeah, oh yeah, and then they're like, so because Ned is, like, a traitor and all this sort of stuff, Tywin is going to be the new hand of the king. Right. Which essentially means that he's going to be king, because, like, Joffrey is a child, and so it's like, Tywin is essentially king now by being hand of the king, which hand of the king was already kind of...
king,
you know, the power of the king in some sense.
Yeah, and, like, Jaime was... Wasn't he something? The head of the West or something? Or was that... Tywin was that?
Tywin is Warden of the West, and Robert was, like, threatening to make Jaime, like, the warden in, like, the
in the east, instead, for the area.
And also, at one point, even threatened to make him hand of the king if Ned didn't want to do it. And then they're like, in place of the traitor Stannis Baratheon, Cersei is going to be seated on the small council instead of Stannis. So it's just like, you know, fully just replacing everything. Janos Slynt, commander of the City Watch, is going to be raised to the rank of Lord and granted the ancient seat of Harrenhal. So Janos Slynt goes from being just like head of the City Watch to being like a proper like Lord.
Yeah, and people are mad about that.
Oh yeah, because they're like, there's all these like noble houses that have been around for a long time who are like, that could have been me getting that position at Harrenhal, but instead it's, you know, Lord Janos Slynt. Right. Who's to be immediately seated upon the small council to assist in the governance of the realm. And everyone's annoyed about that. Like, come on, like, I could have been, you know. And they're like, in these times of treason and turmoil, it is the view of the council that the life and safety of King Joffrey is of paramount importance. And so then Cersei's like, Barristan Selmy, you're out of here. Because he was part of the Kingsguard, but he was, like, not necessarily, like, on board with all the shit that they were doing. And so they're just like, yeah, you can just, like, you know, retire. And he's like, but...
This isn't a retirable position.
It's like... Yet now, I fear your service is at an end. It is the wish of the king counsel you lay down your heavy burden. My burden? I fear I do not. Your grace, the Kingsguard is a sworn brotherhood. Our vows are taken for life. Only death may relieve the Lord Commander of his sacred trust. Whose death, Sir Barristan? Yours or your king's? You let my father die. You're too old to protect anybody. Your grace, I was chosen for the white swords in my 23rd year, which I was calling them white cloaks.
Yeah.
I was saying it to you because that's
what in Wheel of Time.
In Wheel of Time,
there's a group called the White Cloaks.
There's a group called the White Cloaks, and I'm like, they've never once in my life have I heard them called the White Swords. That's simply incorrect. They're the Kingsguard, and then, like, because they do wear, like, white armor and white capes, and they have white swords. They're all white. And I was wanting to bring this up. I was like, oh, I should bring this up the next time that we do, like, an episode. Yeah. Is sort of comparing and contrasting the Kingsguard to the Night's Watch.
Right.
Because the Kingsguard is all white, you know, white armor, white, capes and swords, and they're
like gold and
and they're also supposed to be this like sworn brotherhood. We keep our vows for life. We don't take lands and families and all that stuff, you know.
Right.
And you know, he's like, But the thing is that we see that the white swords, that like the Kingsguard is like corrupt.
Right. Yep, and they're also there for the protection of the king only.
Yep, they're there for the protection of the king, while the Night's Watch, who are, they're crows, they're, you take the black, they're all like criminals and bastards and all this sort of stuff. It's like they have like a similar structure, but one is seen as like super prestigious and you want, and the other one's like a punishment.
Right.
But the
gist of it is like the same.
Yes, but the Night's Watch are like actually protecting the realm and like doing good work for the people of the kingdom, while all the Kingsguard does is protect the king, and the king isn't the same. Yep. Protecting the king isn't the same as protecting the realm.
Right.
Because we had Mad King Aerys, who they protected him even though he was awful.
Yep.
And then like Robert wasn't a good king. He wasn't a bad king in the same way that Aerys was, but he was a bad king. And then it's like they're corrupt. They're on the side of like Cersei and whatnot. And so it's like we see like the corruption and this system that's supposed to be like this pure white like facade. Yeah. And then with the
Night's Watch,
Night's Watch, it's like we're
night
actually
and dark, and they're all like in.
Mm-hmm. And they're all like, oh, they're criminals and all this jazz, and it's a punishment. But then it's like they're actually doing like good work for the people of the realm.
Yep.
And so I feel like George is very much trying to like make this explicit like contrast, of like the shining ideal of a knight. Yeah. Versus like actual like nobility. Yeah. Like
and like also because like when like Jon is brought in and stuff, it's like, oh, like the people with you, like the rapists and this or whatever. But like I think the one person that they point to as a rapist, wasn't it like they were in like a consensual relationship, but
it was like because he's like this like lowborn whatever. It's like they ship him off to the wall to like sort of get him out of there. And
then you hear like the like Stark kids and stuff like early on talk about like, oh, the knights, like they do all this like cool stuff, like these cool like they're amazing. Then you meet them and they're these like horrible, like they treat them horrible, and like
because I think that like Bran maybe sees Jaime is like, now that's what a king is supposed to look like, because it's like, oh,
Robert,
Robert doesn't look like a king. That's what a king's supposed to look like, and it's Jaime, and his, Kingsguard, white, he's a white knight, and
with
it's the blonde hair and all this,
and like how Sansa sees like all of them and stuff, and then like how they're like treated when you actually like interact with them.
Because it's like this noble society just like brings out the worst in people and like encourages the worst in people, while like the Night's Watch, things, nothing's perfect. Nothing's ever perfect, like
but they're also all working together for a specific goal. Like they have like,
and it's like
and it's since it's not seen as a prestigious position, that like the kind of infighting is not like
the same.
Right.
Yeah, because it's like with the Kingsguard, it's like, look at these beautiful knights in shining armor who like fight to protect the king versus and this like noble image versus the actual like nobility of the boring work that no one actually wants to do but is important.
Because like most of their stuff like isn't like fighting and like stuff like that, because like the whole like Jon wanted to be like a ranger and like all of that, but like the main thing is like building and the like all of those types of things are extremely important. Just watching the wall, just like all of that is and
then it turns out that like all the actual like existential threats
is all
is on that side of the wall.
And here it's just kind of petty power struggles.
And so it's like Barristan, who's like the best of them, is getting like kicked out.
The last of the best of them. Like if there was a
right. It's like, before I served your father, I helped shield King Aerys and his father Jaehaerys before him. 3 kings, and all of them dead, Littlefinger pointed out. Your time is done. So Jaime Lannister will take your place as the Lord Commander of Sworn Brothers of the White Swords.
Yeah, and to him that's like even more of an insult, because like
he's like the Kingslayer, the false knight who profaned his blade with the blood of the king that he had sworn to defend. And he gets rewarded for that. And then they're like, oh, well, you can have this big retirement package, and he's like, I spit on your retirement package? You suck, I hate you all. Yep. A hall to die in and men to bury me. I thank you, my lords, but I spit upon your pity. Yeah. I am a knight, I shall die a knight. Yep. And Sansa, her heart went out to the gallant old man as he stood, shamed and red-faced, too angry to speak. Finally, he threw his sword. Yeah, because, he pulls his sword out, and they're like, and it's like, no, I'm, don't worry, I'm not gonna kill your king, not any thanks to you.
Yeah,
Your king is safe, not any thanks to you.
Honestly, though, he should have. Slipped forward.
Just been like, alright, here we go.
Well, no, because he's sworn to protect the king.
That's true.
Cersei.
Yeah, go just kill Cersei.
Go kill Cersei, that's what we need.
Yep. You're
not killing the king. The king's still there.
Yeah,
he just has no power anymore.
Mm-hmm. He flings his sword down. Here, boy, melt it down and add it to the others if you like. It will do you more good than swords in the hands of these 5. Perhaps Lord Stannis will chance to sit on it when he takes your throne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Joffrey's like, send someone after him. He was mean.
Yes, as is his purview.
Yep. So they send 2 people after him.
Yep, they send a couple people after. At first, no one does anything, and he's like, excuse me, yeah. I'm the king.
I think the new lord that they made.
Yeah, Janos Slint.
He had some people do it.
He sent some people. Yeah.
He's like, I'll do it.
Yep. My gold cloaks will see to it, your grace. Yeah. And so then they make Sandor Clegane, one of the King's Guard.
Yeah, because Joffrey's he goes dog, you want it, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. And it's might as well. Why not? I have no lands or wife to forsake. Who'd care if I did? But I warn you, I'll say no knight's vows. The sworn brothers of the King's Guard have always been knights, Sir Boros said firmly. Until now, the Hound said in his deep rasp, and Sir Boros fell silent.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's interesting because, we know that Sandor Clegane dislikes the idea of noble knights because he's aware that the system's all bullshit and stuff, but he's taken it in a direction where he's just the system's bullshit. He's kind of nihilistic, and so he just kind of participates in the nihilism.
Right.
But he's I'm not gonna try and pretend that I'm a noble knight or whatever because it's bullshit. It's all a bunch of bullshit. If my shitty brother can be a knight, then then it's all bullshit.
Nothing matters. Basically.
Yep, and yeah, Mr. Angst over here.
Yeah.
And it's alright, if anyone else has anything to say, and so Sansa gets up the courage to be actually, I have something to say. And Joffrey's
and then Cersei's, I'm disappointed in you. Fuck off.
Oh, yeah.
Literally,
You disappoint me. What did I tell you about traitor's blood? And it's just so, your father has committed grave and terrible crimes, my lady. Grandmaster Pycelle untold. Yeah, he must listen to me. He must.
Pycelle can also fall down the stairs.
Oh yeah, Pycelle also sucks. He's he's always been a fucking Lannister little puppet.
There's someone in Red Rising that's named, I can't remember if it's Pycelle or if it's just so close to Pycelle that
yeah, it gets you. Yeah.
And it's kind of a similar role
right
in the story in general, so it's just makes me think of him. I can't find where I
can't find your phone.
Yeah, just to look it up, so it doesn't matter. Oh, it's charging over there.
Oh right.
Sorry, it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine. But yeah, and she's I just want mercy for him. I know he must be punished. All I ask is mercy. And then Joffrey's they're going back and forth, and then Joffrey's Mother, what should I do?
Yeah.
If Lord Eddard were to confess his crimes, we would know he had repented his folly. And she's oh, I'm sure that he will. I'm sure that he will.
Yeah, oh, of course. And she's relieved. She's yeah, this will be no problem.
Yeah. He has to confess and say that I am the king, or there will be no mercy for him. He will. Oh, I know he will. Yeah. And, so yeah, that's Sansa's chapter.
Yeah.
Mostly it's just sort of, getting a little bit of a handle on, what the new state of affairs is.
Yeah, check in on King's Landing after all this.
Yep, and seeing how it's all shaken out. We get Sir Barristan Selmy leaving and all that. And then Sansa pleading for her dad.
Yeah.
Poor Sansa. She just keeps getting, all this bad shit.
Yeah. She does not deserve anything.
She doesn't deserve any of this bullshit, and that's that. And then we move on to a Ned chapter.
Yeah.
And Ned's just kind of losing it in prison.
Yeah, because he's been, like, in solitary.
Yep, he's just, like, in solitary. And it's also, like...
in pain.
He's in pain.
In the water.
And complete darkness.
Yeah.
It's, like, completely dark in there. And, yeah, once the door had slammed shut, he had seen no more. The dark was absolute. He may as well be blind. Or dead, buried with his king. Ah, Robert, he muttered.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, he keeps thinking about Robert during this, and he's like, the king eats, Robert had said, and the hand takes the shit. How he had laughed. Yet he had gotten it wrong. The king dies, Ned Stark thought, and the hand is buried.
Yeah.
Yep. And he's... See, the thing is, because, like, we get to that bit where he's like, you know, he damned them all, Littlefinger, Janos Slynt, his gold cloaks, the Queen, the Kingslayer, Pycelle and Viserys and Sir Barristan, even Lord Renly, Robert's own blood, who had run when he was needed most.
No, he asked you.
He did.
He did not leave you. He did not leave you at all.
Yeah.
You left him, honestly. Like...
Although, it does... Eventually he says...
Yeah.
Yet in the end he blamed himself. Fool, he cried to the darkness. Thrice damned blind fool.
Yes.
In the end...
I had the same, like, I was, like, mad at him, and then he's like, but he blames himself most. And I'm like, yes. But also... You little...
Oh, yeah. It's just one of those things when he's just sitting there, it's just like...
Just one of the
mad
things.
at everyone.
Yes. No,
and just like how it all went down. But it's just like, yeah, it's like, no, Renly, like, you could have done the thing with Renly. Yep. You could have just done the thing with Renly.
Yep.
Like, you should have. You really should have. Yeah, Ned had played and lost. His men had paid the price for his folly with their life's blood. Yeah, and he keeps just, like... He starts, like, losing track of, like, the days and, like, sleeping versus waking. It's hard to tell apart because it's all just, like, darkness. And he's, like, he made plans to keep himself sane, built castles of hope in the dark. He's, like, you know, just trying to think of, like, ways that it can work out. And then he starts thinking of Robert more and more. Eventually he starts, like, sort of hallucinating Robert there.
Right.
Look at us, Ned, Robert said. Gods, how did we come to this? You here and me killed by a pig. We won a throne together. I failed you, Robert, Ned thought. I lied to you, hid the truth. I let them kill you. The king heard him. You stiff-necked fool. Too proud to listen. Can you eat pride, Stark? Will honor shield your children? But then Robert's face, like, twists into being Littlefinger.
Yeah.
And then they start bringing him water, and he's, like, being like, how long? And my daughters, and he's trying to, like, you know, get something, but, you know.
They won't give him any information.
And he starts being like, okay, so I guess each time they bring me water, that's a day?
Yeah.
And he starts thinking about the tourney at Harrenhal, which is kind of where this all started. We start to get a little bit of that because we learned that, like, this was a thing years ago. Back when Ned was 18, he went to the tourney of Harrenhal, and he was there with Brandon and Robert, and, you know, it was such a great time. And Rhaegar was there, and he was the one who, like, won all the jousting, and he was wearing, like, his armor that he ended up dying in, and he looks all, like, beautiful prince.
Yeah.
Ned remembered the moment when all the smiles died, when Prince Rhaegar Targaryen urged his horse past his own wife, the Dornish prince Elia Martell, to lay the Queen of Beauty's laurel in Lyanna's lap. He could see it still, a crown of winter roses, blue as frost.
Yeah.
Which, like, Lyanna is often associated with, like, blue winter roses.
Right.
Like, I think that's, like, a thing with, like, her grave as well or something. In Winterfell, there's something about that.
Yeah.
I think Ned makes some reference to, like, her liking those flowers or whatever. And Rhaegar. So it's like, we've always gotten this thing, it's like, oh, Rhaegar, like, kidnapped her.
Right.
But then it's like, he does this, like, romantic gesture to her at the tourney, even though he's already, like, married.
Right.
And so that's sort of, like, kind of the start, you know, of all this, like, shit. Like... You know, something must have happened after that as well. But, like, you know, he Ned thinks back to that moment as sort of, like, kind of, like, when all this kind of, like, started, what, like, led them down this, like, path that ended up here. You know, Robert going after Rhaegar, and Rhaegar going after Lyanna and all that.
Right.
Yep. Promise me, Ned, his sister had whispered from her bed of blood. She had loved the scent of winter roses. God save me, Ned wept. I am going mad. The gods did not deign to answer. Ned is really going through, like, it's so interesting. I love how we get this, like, depiction of, like, solitary confinement. And just, like, the sheer psychological
aspect of it,
you know? Like, being put down in the dungeons, like, fully just disconnected from everyone and, like, blinded and all that. But he's like, you know, Catelyn has Tyrion, so, like, there's, like, a chance, and doesn't know yet that that's not the case. And then someone comes.
Yeah.
And he's like, food, wine, a voice answered. Varys? I'm not dreaming. This, you're here?
Yeah.
And so he gives him the wine. Ned tried to swallow. Dregs. All men must swallow the sour with the sweet. Your hour has come, my lord. He's like, you know, what's going on with my daughters? Yeah. And, you know, Varys kind of just, like, gets him up to speed on a lot of stuff. And is like, listen, you gotta put this, like, honor shit aside. And, like, save your family, you know? Like, either you can continue this, like, you know, claiming that Stannis is the rightful person or whatever, and your children will fucking die, and you'll die, and it'll all be awful. Or you can just, like, fucking let it go.
Yeah.
And
just
lie.
Just say it's Joffrey, and...
Just say it's Joffrey, they'll send you to the wall, you'll live, your family will live, you know, tell them to call all this stuff off, just, like... And Varys claims that all he cares about is keeping peace in the realm.
Right.
That he wants peace in the realm, and so no more fighting, all this sort of stuff. And I'm curious what your thoughts on, like, Varys' intentions are.
I don't know. I mean, it could be what he, like, just what he says, and he wants peace. Like, he could be, like, worried about, like, the wall and everything. Mm-hmm. You know, like, he could be one of the few people who actually, South who, like, cares about that.
Yeah,
like, or he could have his own political stuff going on.
Yeah, because it's like, we know that he's got some shit going with what's his name out in Essos. You know, the guy who, like, kind of sold Dany off to Khal Drogo.
Right.
He's got something going on with that guy. And then he's also, like, you know, he's backing, you know, Joffrey and Cersei and them right now.
Right.
But also that's just, like, that's the most...
that's the big, like, that is the faction to, like... Mm-hmm, especially if you're already in the...
Yeah, if you're already, like, in the court and everything, like, it's like...
You're gonna, like, go run after Renly, or, you know, like...
Right. It's just, like, this is the most sort of, like, stable horse to back now.
Right.
But
as, like... was like Master of Whispers or whatever. It's like the royal spy, basically. You know, that makes sense.
Yeah, because he has a whole bit about that. It's like a courageous spy is not Master of Whispers. It doesn't make sense. Can you free me from this pit? I could, but will I? No. Right. Questions would be asked, and the answers would leave it to me. You are blunt. Yeah. A eunuch has no honor. A spider does not enjoy the luxury of scruples, my lord. And he's like, could you at least get a message out for me? And he's like, I will take the letter and read it and deliver it or not as best serves my own ends. And what ends are those? Peace. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure.
and then he's just like, why are you so stupid? He's just like, what strange fit of madness led you to tell the queen that you had learned the truth of Joffrey's birth? The madness of mercy. Ah, you are an honest and honorable man, Lord Eddard. I have met so few of them in my life. When I see what honesty and honor have won you, I understand why. Yeah. And he's like, oh yeah, no, Lancel and Cersei, like, you know, they, like, if it hadn't have been the boar, it would have been something else. Yeah. Like, they were for sure, like, like, the point of this whole trip was that he was gonna die. If the boar had not done for Robert, it would have been a fall from a horse, the bite of a wood adder, an arrow gone astray. It was not wine that killed the king. It was your mercy. Yeah. Yeah. It's like that. They did it because you played. Yeah. You forced their hand, and so it's like, well, all right. Like, what? Yeah. And also we get, like, Stannis and Renly, and like, the Iron Gauntlet, and the Silk Glove.
If you were told information like that, well, that's not. Never mind. You don't count.
Yeah.
I was. About Ned.
So what would you have done? It's like, Ned, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, in Dorne, the Martells still brood at the murder of Princess Elia and her babes, and that was done by the Lannisters.
Right.
The Lannisters were the ones who killed Elia's children, because Elia was the one who was married to Rhaegar.
Right.
And then Rhaegar runs off with Lyanna for some fucking reason.
Right.
And her children, because they're Targaryen children, got killed in the rebellion, but they were killed by the Lannisters, so that's part of why the Martells and the Lannisters aren't on good terms. And Joffrey's like, make them come here and swear fealty, because he's just been like given a list. Yep. And so, you know, a lot of this is just getting Ned caught up on the situation, and then talking about it. It's all like very good, like tense going back and forth, you know.
And I don't know what he's up to.
Yeah, Varys is very, like, mysterious in that way. But he's also, like, everyone has their part to play. You know, that's what I learned being a mummer back before I'm what I am now.
Right.
Everyone's got their part to play, and I'm playing my part. Are you in league with Littlefinger? What you looking for?
My other pen, sorry.
Oh, gotcha. It's like, are you in league with Littlefinger? Oh, I feed him choice whispers sufficient that he thinks I am his, just as I allow Cersei to believe I am hers, and just as you let me believe that you are mine.
He never made you believe that.
Nope.
Never made you to believe that.
Nope.
I don't know why you got that out of any of his conversations.
Right.
Because he said that he was not yours.
Yeah.
Just that he had some information, and he has his own shit.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I serve the realm, and the realm needs peace. So what is your answer, Lord Eddard? My life is not so precious to me as that. And your daughter's life, my lord, how precious is that? Oh yeah, and also, this is a funny little thing. This, like, he talks about the children and how they got, like, killed even though they were just little children.
Right.
And talks about, like, knowing them, and she had a small black kitten she called Balerion. Did you know? I always wondered what happened to him. It's implied that the black tomcat, the old one that
Arya was trying to catch.
That's Balerion, that kitten from before.
Got you.
Yeah, which is just a funny little detail. Because it leads to this whole thing where there's, like, later on we get this cat called Sir Pounce, who's maybe the kid of that tomcat, which then leads to the joke theory that that kitten is the prince that was promised from, you know, prophecy stuff and whatnot. It's just you know, Alt Shift X has a video about that where it's like, the point is that you can make the prophecy fit anyone if you really try hard enough.
Yeah, I mean, that's how prophecy is.
That's how prophecy is. We were watching a video about that last night. Yeah. By Apologia.
Yeah, Apologia. Great channel.
Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah, and then Varys is like, why is it always the innocents who suffer most when you High Lords play your Game of Thrones?
Yep.
Spare thought for this as well. The next visitor who calls on you could bring you bread and cheese and the milk of the poppy for your pain, or he could bring you Sansa's head. The choice, my dear Lord Hand, is entirely yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Varys just kind of comes in and it's like, here's a bit of a reality check for you.
Right.
Like, you're in a bad situation. You know you're in a bad situation.
But also, your kids are still here and also in a bad situation.
Yep, it's like, this isn't just about you and your honor.
And it never has.
Right, exactly, because that's the thing. Ned cares so much about, like, honor and whatnot, but he cares so much about his own honor that he doesn't care enough about, like, what consequences that has on everyone else.
Yep.
Right? It's like, he tries to do what's right for everyone, but he's so focused on his own personal, like, honor stuff that it gets in the way. He doesn't think big picture enough, you know? So yeah, so that's Ned's chapter.
He's like a block when it comes to, like, stuff like that. Like,
he
honor
does.
type, you know, like, it's he can't think past that.
Yep. He's so like, I gotta do the right thing.
Yep.
And, you know. Yeah. Alrighty. Anything else about Ned here?
I don't think so.
No. Alrighty. And then we go back to Catelyn.
Yeah.
And this is quite the chapter.
Yeah. So, I've talked about the audiobook before, and I, like, wasn't super kind to it.
Right.
It's gotten better, I think, as it's gone along. But I will say, this chapter specifically was great. His, like, Walder Frey I loved. Like, I hate Walder Frey. He's horrible. He's a horrible little goblin. I hate him and I love him. Yeah. I loved this whole section. Like, the whole... Yeah.
You love a character that you can hate.
Oh, yeah.
You love a character that you can hate and be like, they're the worst.
Yeah. And he's just such a creep and so, like... But such just like an asshole in the best and worst way. I love him.
Oh yeah.
I love him so much. But what was I gonna say with the audiobook? He does a great job with his voice. He does like this horrible laugh so well. Like it's perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, so with this chapter, it's like, you know, they've gotten to the twins. Yes. And it's like these two castles on either side of the river and then like a bridge between them. Yeah. Connecting them, and this is like the only place that you can cross this river with any like ease.
Yeah, because that's it's basically the linchpin of their whole plan because they need the maneuverability.
Yeah.
For this whole thing.
Right, and so it's like they get there and they're like, Walder Frey has like gathered all of his forces here, and he has not gone to help. And they're like, yeah, fucking of course not.
Yeah.
And...
Because they've said a few times that, like, he just, like, shows up late with you know, like, just not... He never helps. Or, like, just right at the end just to say that he helped, you know, like...
Yeah, he's an opportunist in that way. Yeah. And we get... It's like, all right, so what are we going to do? What are we going to do about Frey? Who's going to go talk to him? Are we going to, like, siege him? That'd take too long? Are we going to try and build rafts across the... That. Yeah. You know, we could try and build rafts to, like, cross the river, but then we'd have to, like, cut down trees and build things.
And that
like,
also takes time.
It's going to take too much time. And so Catelyn's like, I'm going to go in, and I'm going to negotiate this because he is my father's banner man, so there's, like, a reason for it to be me. And,
because, like, they thought about sending Jon, because he was going to...
Rob.
God, I tried. As I was saying it, I'm like, that's not the right one.
Yeah, Rob. Going to send Rob.
The problem is, they're both 3-letter names. Because, like, Jon is not John with an H.
Right.
And for some reason in my head, it's the same word. But I hear it as different. John with an H is different than John without an H. And it sounds different in my head. So then there's...
funny. That's so funny.
Then there's 3-letter John and Rob, and I just...
Yeah, because it's Rob Stark, Jon Snow. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, they thought about sending Rob in, but Catelyn's like, no, I should go in.
Yep.
Because she's going to be better at, like, negotiating than, like, Rob
I think that this one makes sense.
Yes, it does. And so then they have a whole...
I also don't know if Rob would have... would have had as successful of a conversation,
right?
Like than Catelyn. Like I don't know if he would have done as good in this conversation.
Yeah. I agree.
Just because he's not as politically savvy. He's too young. He's just too young. You know, like,
he doesn't have the like experience for that kind of thing. Yeah. And so she ends up going in and having this conversation with Walder Frey. That's just...
It's great.
It is great, because he's 90 years old. It's like, no one's fucking that old, you know, back in these days. And so it's like, he's 90 years old, he has so many children and grandchildren.
Yeah, because I was like, people say that he could field an army in a day, and like it's like because of all of his family or whatever.
Oh yeah. and like his direct heir already has like grandchildren and shit, and he's just like, they're all just waiting for me to die. Fuck them. Yeah. He's like,
and they all name him Walder to get my, like
try and get my, affection or whatever.
Just snapping at everyone. Just this a horrible old man.
He's just like, fuck you, I do what I want. Which like on some level is just like so much fun, but he's the worst.
He's the worst. Like he very, very fun to read. This like whole bit. A horrible person to be around.
And he's like, why shouldn't I just go with the Lannisters, huh?
Yep.
Like...
He's like, I could just ship,
It's like, you gotta do something for me.
Yep.
And so Catelyn does. Catelyn, like, they just have such, like, an actual, like, frank conversation about, like, no, I could just... Why should I help you?
Yep.
It's like, yeah. He's like, your father didn't come to my last wedding. I don't care that he was dying. Yeah. It's an insult. He didn't come to the one before that either.
He's like, you guys have never liked me. And, like, is, like, pulling up, like, stuff or whatever. And then he mentions the wedding or whatever. And, like, yeah, it's just 16. It's weird. Yep. You've gotten married so many times.
Yep.
Shut up.
Yep. It's just like, you've never liked me. Yeah, because you suck. Because you're the worst. Yeah.
He's like, I know I'm the worst, and I'm going to continue to be the worst.
Father, you forget yourself. Lady Stark is here at your invitation. Did I ask you?
Yeah.
You are not Lord Frey yet, not until I die. Do I look dead? I hear no instructions from you. Yeah, he's just so fun to be the worst. He's like, I want you to open your gates and...
Because, so I know he's in the show. Mm-hmm. He did not give me the same vibe in the show. Yeah, like, he was fine, but he was just like an old ally, kind of creepy. Yeah, you know, just not. Mm-hmm. But like, this is a very specific character, and I like. Yeah. It's so fun to read. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. If Lord Dion wants my help, he can bloody well ask for it. Yeah. It's like, why don't you? And it's like, well, I'm asking. Yep. You know. He's just got his weird, like, pride about him.
Yep. And, like, she knew going in, is like, he's gonna ask for, like, we need to give him something, you know?
Yeah.
Because then there's, like, the deal is to, like...
Yeah, it's like, they end up making this deal where it's like, I need some men to escort 2 of Lord Frey's grandsons north to Winterfell. I have agreed to take them as wards. Aged 8 years and 7. They are both named Walder. Yeah. Which is just really funny. Lord Frey's son, Olivar, will be coming with us. He is to serve as your personal squire. Yeah. His father would like to see him knighted in good time. Yep. So it's like...
Olivar?
Yeah, Olivar.
That just reminds me of Oliver. Wheel of Time.
Yeah.
Like, just straight up.
That's funny. If your sister Arya is returned to us safely, it is agreed that she will marry Lord Walder's youngest son, Elmar. And Rob's like, Arya's not gonna like that one. And you are to wed one of his daughters once the fighting is done. His lordship has graciously consented to allow you to choose whichever girl you prefer.
I'd be careful marrying Arya off. Like, she might kill, like...
Yeah, she might just
like, straight up kill him. Like, nah, I don't want to, though.
That's true. Like... But yeah, I like this, you know, it says, that you're gonna be married off to one of them.
Sure, he fell off a horse.
Right. To his credit, Rob did not flinch. I see.
Yeah.
Do you consent? Can I refuse? Not if you wish to cross. Yep. I consent, Rob said solemnly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Catelyn's kind of, like, proud of him, because, like, it's...
Yep, boys might play with swords, but it took a lord to make a marriage pact knowing what it meant. They crossed at evenfall. For good or ill, her son had thrown the dice.
Yeah, because, like, she knows what that's like and stuff. Yep. It's something that I can, you know...
Mm-hmm. She's like, sometimes, it's like... Yeah. Because she's like, you can still make the best of this. Like, you get to choose who it is. You can, like, meet these people and choose who you think is going to be best. And you can, try and make the best of it. You know, they're allies. It'll be strengthening ties with allies and stuff. It's, you know, it's not the most fun, but it'll you know, help us. Yeah. But yeah, so it's like, take care of some of my kids, make one of my kids a knight. Yeah. Eventually, and be like close and like close, you know, like have us be close. We want to be right up close with you guys if this is gonna be how it's going. So yeah, and so that's mostly that chapter.
Yeah. Great chapter.
Right. It's like so much of it is just like that conversation. Yeah. And just sort of like enjoying their like talking and whatnot because he does good dialogue with them. But yeah, it mostly comes down to just like he could help the Lannisters and he's like, they're super powerful, why wouldn't I? Right. Like, you know, there's any chance that they could actually like win this. So like, why
then if I help you, then I'm in trouble. You know, like,
then I'm in trouble, you know.
Especially with the Lannisters, they're not super forgiving.
Mm-hmm. Right. So yeah. And so we make a deal. Yeah. Yep. And that's that. Alrighty, and now Jon, our final chapter for the evening.
Now I can get it wrong the other way.
Now you can get it wrong the other way. We can have fun with that. So Jon is with Lord Mormont, And
sorry, one more quick thing. This is not related to the current chapter, but I just am thinking about it. So Robb hasn't had any chapters. He doesn't have any.
Robb
we may
has
have
not
talked
had
about
any
this
perspective.
we may have talked about this maybe in the first video, talking about this book or something. But it's just interesting.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it in a while, and I just kind of thought about it.
Yeah. It's we haven't gotten any Robb perspective chapters.
Yeah, and it's just interesting.
Yeah, because there's so much focus on Robb because Robb is having to be this young lord.
Yeah, but it's we only see him from other people.
Yeah, we only see him through the eyes of other people, which is just kind of interesting.
Yeah. But anyway, we can get back to
we can get back
to this. It's just
yeah. So Jon is here with Lord Mormont.
Yes.
And he's getting a fancy sword.
Yeah, and he doesn't feel worthy of it.
Yeah, and it's he has kind of conflicted feelings about it.
He doesn't feel worthy of it, but also he feels like he should be worthy of his father's sword instead. So there's a lot of stuff wrapped up. You know,
he's as a kid he used to always sort of fantasize about saving Ned and then Ned legitimizing him with this sword and all this kind of stuff. You know. But now it's he's getting the sword from Lord Mormont.
Yeah, after saving his life, it's a similar kind of...
Yeah. And and also, Jon's hand got burned.
Yes, it's pretty bad.
Got burned pretty bad from doing that, but he's been told that, it should go back to normal, in time.
Yeah.
And so he's flexing his hand and stuff, which spoilers, much like tugging braids, Jon flexing his burned hand will become a thing. Every now and then he'll just be doing that. And so he saved him, his hand got burnt, but Mormont's hey, you can have the sword, because the sword, it's called Longclaw. Yeah. And it was for them, and there's the bear.
Yep, the bear, and he's wolves have claws as well as bears.
And Jorah got the sword, but then whenever he fled after being exiled and all that stuff, he didn't take the sword with him, which is kind of interesting. Jorah didn't take that sword with him whenever he ran off.
Yeah.
After being called getting in trouble for poaching and all that. Not poaching, but for selling poachers into slavery.
Right.
Yeah. Mormont talks about that, about how, the sword, he's giving me his son's sword. Jon could scarcely believe it. My son brought dishonor to House Mormont, but at least he had the grace to leave the sword behind when he fled.
Yeah.
Which is just kind of an interesting, little thing about Mormont.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it used to have a different, the blade is Valyrian steel.
Right, but most of the rest of it's been remade.
Has been remade because, it was caught up in, the fire. Right. And so now it's got, this, stone pommel that's been, shaped like a white wolf.
Yeah.
Sort of Ghost. And, it's got, gems in the eyes and stuff, and new leather and all that. It's, a very fancy new sword. It's a bastard sword.
Yeah.
Because it's a hand and a half sword, as opposed to Ice, which is, a big old two-handed sword.
Right.
Yeah, I have no right to this, he thought, no more than Ice. My lord, you honor me, but spare me your butts, boy.
No, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah, but I would not be sitting here if it were not for you and that beast of yours. So just fucking take it. Fire. Yes, Damon, we ought to have known. We ought to have remembered. The long night came before. 8,000 years is a good while, to be sure. Yet, if the Night's Watch does not remember, who will? Who will? Chimed the talkative raven. Who will? Yeah, and Mormont's raven continues to just, know things, be, weirdly prescient.
It's the raven that took his memories.
That took Bran's memories?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. Swords.
Because it happened in a dream, so
that's true.
Distance doesn't matter.
I mean, that's true. That's true. It happened in a dream. Fucking, this is that dream raven.
We've never, we don't know what the raven dreams about when he sleeps.
I mean, that's true. This raven could be the secret puppet master behind all of Westeros. Of course.
I'm glad you saw what I see.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Oh man,
I'm already getting into crack theories.
There you go. All right. So they're they give him the sword. They're talking about that. They're talking about, like, how the fire, like, seemed to be really effective against Othor, keeping him from coming back.
Yeah, and, like, they burned him up right away.
Yeah, like, burned him, like, way, sort of, like, more than, like, it sort of should have.
Yeah, and, like, went way faster than, like, he expected.
Mm-hmm. And then, he goes back with the sword to his friends. And, and also he's like, that's a man's sword you have, and it'll take a man to wield her. I'll expect you to act the part henceforth. Yeah. And he's, hey, stop getting into trouble and all this sort of stuff. And then he goes back and... Which
I appreciated his, like, kind of remarks on, on that. Because I was, like, annoyed that he was getting punished for, like, for running at Grumpy Sword Guy. And so, like, in this section, it's like, he's like, I think you're probably going to get to it because he, like, sends him off or whatever, but, like, in a way that, like, doesn't seem like a rebuke.
Right, yeah.
But, like, keeps them apart.
Yeah.
And stuff, and then he's like, now, like, don't be doing that again, but, like, also I get it,
Yeah, Mormont's very, I feel like, he's got, like, a good relationship with Jon, like, interesting, like, he is being kind of, like, a fatherly figure to him in this way. And he goes back to his buddies, and they're like, show us the sword. And it's like, you knew? And it's like, Halder helped make, helped the stone carver carve the thing, and Sam was the one who went and bought the jewels in town to, like, put in the wolf's eyes or whatever. Yeah,
and they all were involved in it, which is pretty cool.
Yep, garnets, which are garnets, like, a red?
Yeah.
Yeah, because...
Yeah, like a... like red, purple, but closer to red.
Yeah, because like it's definitely like designed after Ghost, who has like the red eyes. And it's like a white wolf and all that.
Yeah.
I'll wager Lord Snow's the first brother ever honored for burning down the Lord Commander's tower. The others laughed, and even Jon had to smile. It's like, well, I didn't exactly burn down the whole tower, but I did make a pretty good mess of his room. Then Jon. Ghost sniffs the carved stone. Ghost sniffed at his carved stone likeness and tried to lick. Jon smiled. You're the one deserves an honor. He told the wolf. I could not read that line for the life of me. But he's sent off to go be with Maester Aemon. It's Maester Aemon wants to see you. And he's like, why? And he goes off to Maester Aemon, and Aemon makes a comment, Lord Mormont's raven likes fruit and corn.
Yeah.
He's a rare bird. Most ravens will eat grain, but they prefer flesh. I fear they relish the taste of blood, in that they are like men. And just like more sort of drawing attention to the fact that the raven is weird,
right,
in some sense, and also that like they talk about how the Night's Watch, they're called crows, and crows are like ravens, but he's like ravens are smart and they're strong and they're better at carrying messages than like pigeons and doves and whatnot, because they're like stronger and smarter and can better sort of take care of themselves, and sort of like having a little bit of conversation about that, like with Jon.
Right.
And then they start talking about sort of the nature of the Night's Watch. They're both beggars in black, hated and misunderstood. Jon, did you ever wonder why the men of the Night's Watch take no wives and father no children? No. So they will not love, for love is the bane of honor, the death of duty. And we learn that Maester Aemon, he's 100 years old. He's like, if the day should ever come when your Lord Father must needs choose between honor on the one hand and those he loves on the other, what would he do? Which is very relevant to what's going on right now. He would do whatever was right, no matter what. Then Lord Eddard is a man in 10,000. Most of us are not so strong. What is honor compared to a woman's love? What is duty against the feel of a newborn son in your arms, or the memory of a brother's smile? Wind and words, we are only human, and the gods have fashioned us for love. That is our great glory and our great tragedy.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's a little bit of, like, that's part of kind of what the series is kind of about.
Yeah.
And Maester Aemon's really kind of like laying out some and here's some of the themes of the series.
Especially like kind of before the end of this book and everything.
Right, before shit really starts, like, hitting the fan, right? Because, like, it's already,
like, happening.
But, like, it's just, like, we're pouring gasoline everywhere, and we have all these candles everywhere, but we haven't quite exploded the house yet.
Right.
Yeah.
A little kitchen fire happening here, a little,
Yep. We can salvage this. We can salvage this. Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, I don't know what Mr. Whispers is doing. I can't keep track of everyone's names.
The Varys.
Yes.
Master of Whispers and all that. Yeah.
I don't know where I was going now.
It's okay.
Shoot.
So you don't know what he's up to?
Yeah, but that was going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
What were we saying right before?
Everything's about to explode and like trying to salvage everything. So probably it's like you don't know what he's up to, but peace probably.
But yeah, like I think that's kind of what he's doing. He's currently trying to put out those like tiny little, like
fires and try and
curtain on fire over here. Like a.
Yep. Because whenever he was talking to Ned.
Yep.
Before all this stuff was happening, when like Ned was like looking into all this stuff, he was like, "Yeah, this is the shit that got him killed." So like fucking.
Yeah.
Like he was like, "Help." Excuse me. He was like helping him, but in a way where he's like,
Stop looking into it.
Stop looking into it.
Or if you do, don't.
Don't be surprised.
Don't call Cersei.
And be like, hey, Cersei.
To tell her.
Right, exactly. Yeah. It's like, they pledged as well that the Night's Watch would take no part in the battles of the realms it guarded. And so he's kind of like, talking to Jon, because Jon is really kind of wanting to like go.
Yeah, he wants to go help his family because they're all getting ready for war.
They're getting ready for war. Everything's going crazy. He's hearing about Robb and the stuff that Robb's doing, moving an army, and like Ned's.
I don't know how much Jon would be able to do. Like, I know he wants to go and help, but like I don't know
what he could really do.
Like, he doesn't have like title like.
He doesn't have like an army that he can like bring with him.
Right.
He'd just be like one extra person.
It's just one extra young sword. Like really young, like he's not
he doesn't really have anything that he can actually contribute to this. He just like feels so strong that he has to do something,
which like makes perfect sense.
It's like it's all very like you can really understand,
especially like his brother who he like grew up with and had like one of like the better relationships. Like he's leading all these, like that's I'm sure he wants to like kind of be like by his side, and like that actually could be something that might help being like near Robb.
Right.
For like moral support type of thing.
Yeah, for like Robb's own sort of thing.
Since Catelyn,
since Catelyn's there sort of like providing that role to a certain degree.
Right. And like since there's like just like those problems anyway, like
Right. Yep. And then he's talking about Maester Aemon just sort of talking about the Night's Watch and them having to keep these vows and how it's like it's hard.
Yeah.
A craven can be as brave as any man when there is nothing to fear, and we all do our duty when there is no cost to it. How easy it seems then to walk the path of honor. Yet sooner or late in every man's life comes a day when it is not easy, a day when he must choose. And this is my day? This is what you're saying? That's what Jon says. Yeah. And Maester Aemon turned his head and looked at him with those dead white eyes. It was as if he were seeing right into his heart. It hurts, boy. Oh yes, choosing. It always hurts. And always will, I know. You don't know, Jon said bitterly. No one knows. Even if I am his bastard, he's still my father. And Maester Aemon is like, have you heard nothing I've told you, Jon? Do you think you are the first? Because he's still like young and like like he hasn't like broadened his like.
It's hard, like seeing other people and like their full lives and such,
And this is a big part of what Jon has sort of like learned here at the Wall, is like learning about other people and their sort of full lives and their struggles and not being so focused on just his own struggles.
Right.
Because like being a part of the Night's Watch is a selfless thing. You have to. It's like he sees it as like this way that he can sort of like gain honor, rise in the world. But really, it's like no, you have to let that go.
Yep.
This is about like. It's about honor in a different sense.
Yes,
It's like, again, the Kingsguard is like an honorable kind of like you go into service.
It's not the flashy,
Okay, because that's the thing. If you're like taking the same kind of vow, but you're going to... Because also, like, I think he says that like the Maesters are kind of like that. The Maesters also have a similar sort of thing. There's like these little like groups like the Kingsguard and the Maesters and the... the Night's Watch that are all these, like, places where you can, like, take this oath to, like, serve ostensibly, like, the realm, whether it be through knowledge or through being part of the Night's Watch and guarding the realm, or being part of the King's Guard and guarding the king, which is supposed to be guarding the realm, but really isn't actually, you know, and, you know, having to learn to actually be selfless and to have honor in the sense of, like, you are doing something good and that is honorable. Right. And that has to be good enough for you.
Right.
3 times the gods saw fit to test my vows. Once when I was a boy, once in the fullness of my manhood, and once when I was grown old. By then my strength was fled, my eyes grown dim, yet that last choice was as cruel as the first. They cut down my brother's poor grandson, his son, and even the little children. Jon was shocked to see the shine of tears in the old man's eyes. Who are you?
Yeah.
Only a member of the... only a maester of the Citadel. Bound in service to Castle Black and the Night's Watch. In my order, we put aside our house names when we take our vows and don the collar. My father was Maekar, the first of his name. My brother Aegon reigned after him in my stead. My grandfather named me for Prince Aemon the Dragon Knight, who was his uncle, or his father, depending on which tale you believe. Aemon, he called me. Aemon Targaryen? Once, the old man said, once. So you see, Jon, I do know. And knowing, I will not tell you stay or go. You must make that choice yourself and live with it all the rest of your days, as I have. His voice fell to a whisper, as I have.
Yeah.
Because, like, Aemon, he's 100 years old, and he's been doing this for a long time. And he was part of the royal family. He had every chance and opportunity to go back on it. And so it's like, this is, like, the perfect guy for Jon to be having this conversation with.
Definitely.
And giving you the goosebumps. I have
goosebumps. Was covered in goosebumps while you were reading that.
Maester Aemon, he's good for that. He'll just like drop some shit like that. He's a good, like, you know, wise old man kind of figure, you know.
Yeah, we got a creepy old man and a wise old man in this section.
The duality. Yep. So this has been a really good section. Like a lot of good character stuff.
Yep, I've really enjoyed this section quite a bit.
Oh yeah, it's like some of the best stuff in Game of Thrones is just people talking.
Yep. Yeah.
You know, which is why I like some of the books that other people like less. You know, because it's like no, but there's so many good conversations in those books. You know, bam. So Jon, yep, that's Jon. Are we good?
I think we're good on that.
Alrighty. Alright, and so now, what we've been reading.
Yeah.
What you been reading?
So, I've been bouncing around between a few different things. I've been, I've continued reading, finally, book 4 of Red Rising. Mm-hmm. I haven't gotten super far, but I've gotten, like... Mm-hmm. A good new section read, but I have to take breaks sometimes with this book because it makes me too stressed out.
Right.
Especially when you get to like certain sections, it just starts to like 1 or 2 characters. Whenever you're in like their perspective, it's just stress. Like I just feel that like underlying like tension and stress the whole time, and it's fun.
Yeah.
It's good. I enjoy it, but sometimes I need a break. And I've been taking a break with rereading Way of Kings because my friend at work started reading it for the first time, and so I've just been hopping back and forth between something more comfortable
and something more stressful. Yeah. I'm excited for us to get to more Sanderson later.
Yeah,
again,
me too.
You know, I think that'll be fun because it's like it's been
a while.
It's been a while, and also it's like Game of Thrones has been very fun. It's very different, like tone, and then like same with Cradle.
Yeah.
Like it's sort
all
of like
3 of these have been pretty different tones.
Mm-hmm, where it's like with Game of Thrones we lean more into that sort of epic fantasy. Yeah. And like some of the like darker, heavier themes of like some of Sanderson's stuff. Yeah. While Cradle leans more into like the fun magic adventure. We're like blasting people with magic and you know having a grand old time. And so it's like taking those sort of aspects and like focusing on one more than the other.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Yeah. I get that.
And I think we were on break this past week for One Piece.
Yeah, I've been seeing spoilers like crazy though. I'm pretty sure the chapter's already like out or close to out, but like I don't think the full like translations are out yet.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's so that's gonna be exciting because stuff's been exciting there. I haven't been reading anything like usual, but I finally got to play through chapters 3 and 4 of Deltarune because those came out. And it's so exciting. So much fun stuff is happening in Deltarune. Shit's going down.
Yeah, and I've been enjoying, because we've been watching a playthrough of, like, the first 2 chapters. We're almost done with the second chapter or whatever, because I've never played, and so...
Yeah, we're like, halfway done with the second chapter.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
it's
like,
in 2 videos.
Because it's in 2 videos. Yeah. Although one of them is like a good portion of like of that VOD we actually like skipped because it was just him waiting for the game to come out for like an hour or something.
Right.
So it ended up getting like split up. It's Barry from Game Grumps.
Yeah.
Him playing it. And I've been enjoying it. Shit's really starting to happen. I'm not going to talk about spoilers or anything.
Yeah, because it's pretty early.
Because it's still pretty early. And I was, like, dodging spoilers. Trying to, like, dodge spoilers as I'm just, like, as my YouTube recommended to just, like, become more and more full of Deltarune shit. And I'm like, no. The only thing I will say is that, like, we heard that, like, the next chapter is going to be next year.
Yeah, it's been already announced.
Yep, which is crazy. It's, like, at the end of the chapter, it's like, you know, returning in chapter 5, 2026.
Yeah.
I'm like, whoa. Yeah.
I thought like I saw a thumbnail somewhere of someone like reacting to that or whatever.
Yeah. And so that's exciting. And also there's in each of the chapters there's been like a secret boss or like an optional super like tough boss, and I didn't do it in chapter 3 because I like missed it, and I found out that there's actually a way that I could have unmissed it. If that makes any sense. Yeah. I thought that I'd permanently missed out on it, but then I could have actually done something to... It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But I was doing the chapter 4 one, and man, that shit sucked. it was really tough for me. And so if you're out there doing that, heal. Don't just attack and heal. That's all you need to do. Don't worry about it. There's like another thing that you think that you could maybe do because it does like a unique thing when it happens, but like don't worry about it. Just attack and heal. And that's all you need to do. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm so excited. I'm full of the theories now. Yep. I'm worried about people. Yeah. You know, all the good stuff.
All the great story things.
All the good story things. You know, you're worried about people. You're confused about other things. You're like, what's it all mean? What's
happening?
What's happening? It's good shit. And I'm excited that the next one's actually happening like soon. Yeah. It's not going to be like several years. Yep. It's just going to be like next year. I mean, I don't know when next year, of course. I doubt it's like January.
Yeah, right.
But, you know... But it's exciting.
Yeah, but even having the release date for next year is, you know...
It's very exciting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. And then I've just been, like, because, like, I've been... During the time between chapters, I try not to, like, get too sucked into, like, the fandom of it all and then and get in that hiatus brain.
Yeah.
But now that there's only, like, a year left, it's, like... Yeah. It's only a year, so it's not as bad.
Maybe it won't get as crazy.
But also, it's, like... The chapter's finally out, so at least for a little bit, I can just, like, let it consume my brain and watch theories and stuff. There was someone, their name was, like, Stuffed Alpaca or something like that, who was doing, like, had some, like, old Deltarune, like, theory videos and stuff, which I was then, like, listening to at work, and that was a lot of fun.
That's fun.
She I feel like, is very, you know, reasonable.
Yeah.
Because, you know... Not to be mean, because, like, I know there are people who have, like, crazy theories, and I haven't, like, watched them, but just, like, anything can be Gaster if you look hard enough.
Right.
And just, like, watching Barry play through with his, spouse.
Yeah.
They are very Gaster-brained.
Yeah.
And every now and then...
At the end of the one chapter is
at the end of chapter 1, it's like, alright, elephant in the room, Gaster.
And full on like blinked, like what?
Exactly. It's like, what do you mean that's the elephant in the room?
I never saw anything about Gaster. What are you talking about?
Yep, it's so funny. And so like I try not like there's reasons to believe that Gaster could actually be involved in this shit eventually, but it's still just like fucking calm down. So yeah. That's mainly what I've been on about. I've been in Deltarune brain now that I've gotten to play the chapters and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So that's more been my media lately.
Yeah. I'm also very excited because the pilot, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, but the newest book for the Last Horizon series is coming out July 1st, which I'm so excited about.
Yeah, that'll be like
it's
soon.
It's like two-ish weeks basically.
Yeah,
I'm so excited for it.
Yeah, we're halfway through the month, so it's
Yeah, so it's like it's the fourth book, like 4 out of 7 planned books for the Last Horizon series, and I'm so excited.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, and also Silksong eventually.
Yeah.
This year, supposedly. So that's another thing to look forward to for me.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Yep.
But yeah, I think that's mostly it as far as like what we've been consuming. Yeah. So this has been Let's Talk About Book.
Yeah.
And now you can go forth and think about book on your own time. Do the liking, commenting, subscribing, pester your friends and loved ones.
I always love seeing comments. Those are some of my favorites.
Yeah, comments are the best. And have a lovely whatever time it is.
Have a lovely, lovely day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.